Yeah, we formed Walleyes for Tomorrow in 1991, and the reason we got started was in the late 1980s, about 1986 through 1990. Wisconsin experienced some fairly severe droughts, and because of that drought, there was very limited spawning on the Wolf River and or the Fox River because of lack of water flow. You have to have 7 feet on, or seven on the Shawano gauge, water gauge, to have enough water in the marshes to facilitate spawning. This year, right now, it's at 2. And needless to say, the majority of our marshes are without very much water at all right now. But when we started, there was a concern because we hadn't had much spawn and we didn't have many year classes coming up. The department went along with putting a 15-inch size limit on walleyes, and that was to protect the young of the year fish coming up with each successive minimal spawn, and it worked. I mean, I think we had it on for 4 or 5 years, and each successive year after that, it increased the number of fish in the lake by virtue of lack of exploitation by humans. And what we know is about 80% of the 5-year-old fish in the system have not spawned once, and about 80% of the 6-year-old fish in the system have spawned one time. So by implementing this 15-inch size limit, very few female walleyes 15 inches long are old enough to spawn. It really has nothing to do with length as far as sexual maturity. It's got to do with age. But you know, by having this 15-inch size limit for 5 years, you protected at least the first bunch of fish that were spawned in those low water years, and they would be there to spawn when the drought broke, and it did break over time. So that was the thought behind having that 15-inch size limit. It worked, and it was a good thing that it was done after the fact. You know, the system had historically never had this kind of size limit, so it was dropped once we had started getting better water flow and more reproduction in the spawning marshes.